results of the 2020 U.S. presidential elections are still undecided. The Trump campaign is alleging that large-scale voter fraud is being used to alter the outcome of the elections. I'll be giving updates on the situation as it currently stands. Also, the U.S. College Board, which administers the AP and SAT tests, announced it will end its partnership with Hanban, which is an office under the Chinese regime's Ministry of Education that oversees its network of Confucius Institutes. I'll be going in-depth into this. Welcome back, everyone. The results of the 2020 presidential elections are still undecided. On Thursday morning, Nevada, Alaska, and North Carolina are still incomplete. A recount is underway in Wisconsin, and lawsuits have been filed by the Trump campaign around issues in Missouri, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Nevada. Now, the Trump campaign is alleging that large-scale fraud is being used to alter the outcome of the elections, is working to overturn changes to voting laws that were made in states such as Pennsylvania ahead of the elections, and is calling out locations holding recounts that have denied access to observers. Now, Democrats, meanwhile, allege that Trump is interfering by attempting to stop late ballot counting. The Nevada Republican Party announced on November 5th that its lawyers sent Attorney General William Barr a criminal referral, alleging there have been at least 3,062 cases of voter fraud in Nevada alone. Its official Twitter feed stated, quote, "We expect that number to grow substantially. Thousands of individuals have been identified who appear to have violated the law by casting ballots after they moved from Nevada." Now, the Trump campaign is also announcing it's filing a lawsuit in Nevada over the thousands of ballots cast by voters who no longer live in the state. CBS News reported that Trump campaign lawyers sent more than 60 pages of voting records to Barr, which demonstrate this by cross-referencing them with the National Change of Address database. Now, the letter states, quote, "Voter fraud is a serious federal felony, one that cuts to the heart of representative democracy. We understand that these are serious allegations and we do not make them lightly." Now, the Epoch Times reached out to the Department of Justice and Clark County, but did not receive replies to requests for comment. The ACLU of Nevada, meanwhile, responded to the claims on Twitter and noted voters don't lose their eligibility to vote if they leave temporarily. But the allegations notably were not about people leaving temporarily, since it referenced the National Change of Address database. Now, Richard Grenell, Trump's former acting director of national intelligence, said at a press conference that if a person hasn't been in state for 30 days, it's illegal to vote, and noted they're filing a lawsuit over this. The Trump campaign Nevada chairman, Adam Laxalt, said they've also found examples of ballots in trash cans and have cases of people getting as many as 18 ballots. He said in a press conference they haven't been able to observe the signatures or meaningfully examine mail-in ballots of the hundreds of thousands cast. In another case, a U.S. Postal Service worker has been charged after being arrested at the Canadian border with stolen ballots. The individual, Brandon Wilson of Buffalo, New York, is facing charges for delay or destruction of mail after he was found with over 800 pieces of mail, including undelivered ballots on Election Day, November 3rd, while attempting to cross the U.S.-Canada border. President Donald Trump said on November 5th that he will, quote, "defend the integrity of this election," and alleged that Democrats are trying to, quote, "rig an election." He also stated that, quote, "if you count the legal votes, I easily win," and stated that if illegal votes are counted, then Joe Biden will win. And Biden, meanwhile, is saying he's confident in his own victory. Now, Trump has said, quote, "we want openness and transparency. No mystery ballots, no illegal ballots being cast after Election Day." And he added, quote, "we think we will win the election easily," because his team has, quote, "so much evidence, so much proof." Now, among the allegations Trump is making, he's saying campaign observers have not been allowed in key areas, and stated that mail-in voting has created a, quote, "corrupt system." He also pointed to alleged interference from, quote, "big media, big money, and big tech," in addition to, quote, "suppression polls." Now, meanwhile, Trump is also facing accusations from Democrats. The U.S. Office of Special Counsel opened an investigation, allegedly, into allegations that the Trump campaign violated election law by using the White House as a command center on Election Day. This was according to Representative Bill Pascrell, a Democrat from New Jersey, who filed the complaint alleged that Trump and his team used a space in the Eisenhower Executive Office building as a, quote, "campaign war room," and that Trump was expected to be briefed in the White House by campaign officials. Pascrell said the special counsel responded to his request on Thursday, saying this may be a violation of the Hatch Act, which prohibits federal officials from taking part in political activities while on duty. The Trump campaign has also been filing numerous lawsuits as well around the elections. It alleged that in Philadelphia, the local ballot processing facility defied a court order to allow observers after they had previously been denied access. After the order was issued, the ballot processing staff allegedly moved the ballot machines to the back of the building where observers behind a barricade couldn't see what they were doing. They're also accusing the Philadelphia sheriff, a Democrat, of refusing to enforce the court order. The Trump campaign has also filed a lawsuit to prevent votes from being counted that arrived after the November 3rd deadline. Philadelphia had changed election laws to allow ballots to be counted even if they arrived after the deadline. Similar lawsuits are at play in other battleground states. A federal judge dismissed the Trump lawsuit against the Philadelphia Election Board to stop the counting of ballots as long as Republican observers are not allowed to be present. The judge, Paul Diamond, who was appointed under President George W. Bush, urged both sides to find a resolution on observation standards that both sides can agree to. Now, they did agree to having up to 60 observers from each campaign admitted, and the suit was dismissed without prejudice. In Michigan, meanwhile, the Attorney General's office claimed that ballots received after polls closed on November 3rd are not being counted. Ryan Jarvie, the Michigan AG press secretary, told the Epoch Times in an emailed statement that under Michigan law, ballots are only accepted if they arrive at the clerk's desk before the polls close on November 3rd, and this is regardless of what the postmark date is. This is in response to a report from undercover investigative outlet Project Veritas, which had a call from an alleged U.S. Postal Service worker saying he was instructed by supervisors to backdate late ballots that were received after Election Day.
Tell us where you work.
I work in the Traverse City Post Office, more specifically the Barlow branch.
Your boss told you and your colleagues something that shocked you this morning. What was it?
We were issued a directive this morning to collect any ballots we find in mailboxes, collection boxes, just outgoing mail in general, separate them at the end of the day so that they could hand stamp them with the previous day's date. Today is November 4th, for clarification.
Who is your boss, and what is his title?
Jonathan would be a direct supervisor, yes. As of right now, he is the opening supervisor for the Barlow branch post office. So and this is anecdotal, carrier down in another office said they watched the postmaster doing it. If it were just a typical day, it would be clerks doing it up at the distribution center.
And also, the Trump campaign is criticizing the Fox News decision desk for prematurely calling a Biden victory in the swing state of Arizona. The campaign said the network's director at the decision desk, Arnon Mishkin, is a Clinton-voting, Biden-donating Democrat. It noted that Fox News prematurely called Arizona in Biden's favor before hundreds of thousands of ballots had been counted, and noted that even many left-leaning analysts had criticized his decision. Now, Mishkin responded to the criticisms on November 4th, stating, quote, "I'm sorry the president is not going to be able to take over and win enough votes to eliminate that 7-point lead that the former vice president has." Now, meanwhile, for some China news, the U.S. College Board announced it will end its partnership with the Chinese government agency at the end of the year. Now, the College Board is a nonprofit organization that administers the AP and SAT exams, and it faced criticism for its partnership with Hanban, which is an office under the Chinese regime's Ministry of Education that oversees its network of Confucius Institutes. In October, a group of 7 Republican senators issued an open letter to the College Board requesting that it explain the nature of its partnership with Hanban. It stated that, quote, "We are concerned that the PRC, the People's Republic of China, exploits its partnership with College Board to stifle conversation that might undermine the reputation of the CCP." The College Board responded, noting it has received annual grants from Hanban since 2006, but will not continue its relationship with Hanban after the agreement on alleged Chinese language and culture programs ends this year. With that said, folks, please tune in again next time for our analysis on the key issues impacting the world and the crossroads of politics and ideology. As always, we're focused mainly on the U.S. and China and key stories as they emerge in other parts of the world. Also, if you want to support our mission of truth and tradition in journalism, please consider subscribing to the Epoch Times in print or online. We'd really appreciate your support. With that said, folks, as always, stay informed and stay free.